Title: The Price of Rhea's Dream. The soft hum of crickets filled the air as Rhea sat at her wooden desk, her eyes heavy but determined. The old clock on the wall ticked past midnight. Again. Stacks of textbooks surrounded her, pages filled with highlighted notes, scribbled formulas and medical terms she'd read over and over. Her mother was already asleep in the next room, and the candles flickered weakly, threatening to go out. But Rhea refused to rest. She wanted to become a doctor, not just for herself, but for her family, for her community. She had seen too many people die in their township because they couldn't afford proper care. She wanted to change that. Every morning, Rhea woke up before dawn, washed with cold water and caught the early taxi to school. She carried her books like treasure, and even though her shoes were worn out, her spirit wasn't. Her best friend, Ntokozo, often teased her gently. "Rhea, you're always studying. Don't you ever rest?" Rhea would smile even when her eyes were red from sleepless nights. "I'll rest when I become Dr. Mokoena," she'd say with a grin. Ntokozo admired her and sometimes worried for her. When other students went out after exams, Rhea stayed behind in the library, reading and revising again. The road wasn't easy. There were nights Rhea studied on an empty stomach. Her mother's small salary couldn't always stretch to cover food, school fees and transport. Sometimes when the candles burned out, she studied under the dim light of her phone until the battery died. She cried quietly on some nights, the pressure almost too heavy. But in the morning, she'd tie her hair back, smile, and say, "Let's go, Ntokozo." One day, all this will make sense. Years passed. Rhea finally wrote her matric exams, the toughest months of her life. She barely slept, spending most nights at Ntokozo's house where they revised together, surviving on coffee and hope. When results came out, Ntokozo ran to her house screaming, "Rhea! You did it. You got 7 distinctions." Rhea's mother cried tears of joy, hugging her tightly. She had been accepted to study medicine at the University of Cape Town, her dream school. 5 years later, Rhea stood in a white coat, her name embroidered neatly on the pocket. Dr. Rhea Betswe Mokoena. Cameras flashed. Reporters spoke. People on social media called her the lucky girl from